All right, so welcome to our Saturday Empower meeting. I always look forward to this call, and I love this community. This community feeds me, feeds my soul. Like this has changed my life emotionally in so many ways, being part of this group. So really grateful for you all, and really grateful for everyone who got on Bob Heilig's training on Thursday. It really was, it really went as well as or better than I expected it to. I got so much great feedback, that as a matter of fact, Joe Giuliano and Alexi were on. And yeah, and Joe messaged me afterward. He said, that was phenomenal. I love his philosophy. Can I get his number from you? Right. So I'm thinking, hey, maybe we'll have, sometime in the future, New You Life will either have Bob as a speaker or maybe to do some periodic trainings specifically for us. So very, very exciting stuff. I love Bob's approach. I've shared with you guys his philosophy. Those of you who don't tune into him on Instagram, if you don't tune into him on Instagram, do so. If you don't have an Instagram account, create one, because he gives so much free value. And of course his long-term motive, right, is so that you will want to become part of his program, but he never asks. And that's part of his teaching too. He provides, he creates that connection, he creates that trust by providing value, by changing your life. And he never has to ask for the sale. I mean, he literally, after I was tuned into him for, it didn't take too long, I was like, okay, how do I sign up? How do I get into this? Where do I put my credit card? I really wanted to go deeper, because of course, anything that's free, whoever is giving it, whether it be Ray Higdon, John Milton, Eric Worre, it's all a teaser, right? It's not that deep dive. So, my plan is, as I'm enrolled in the new program that he has, which is the Love, Serve, Grow Transformational Conversations, my plan is to incorporate that in some of our trainings. So I did this a few weeks ago. I talked about having transformational conversations, and what really the structure of that is really finding what the person's problem is and acknowledging it, right? So saying, hey, people, I know exactly how you feel. Some of the clients that I'm working with, or many of the clients that I'm working with, have had the very same problem. Or you can say, I can empathize with that more than you know, because maybe it's something that you have dealt with. And then after acknowledging it, you want to say, do you mind if I share with you what Charmaine's story was, or what Rick has experienced, or what I have experienced? Do you mind if I share that with you? And of course, the goal, you want to find out what their goal is, what their challenges are, what they would like to see, and also what that would mean to them. I shared the other day the structure for looking at a problem. You're looking at what the problem is, what the impact is, and then the feeling, like a one-word feeling that comes from that impact. So I shared the other day about my having back issues for 16 years. This is when my kids were growing up. I was always in pain. They knew it, everyone knew it. It's hard to be patient when you're in pain. So that was my problem. The impact was that I wasn't so patient. I could have been a more present mother. I could have been a more patient mother. It was difficult. What is the feeling that causes for me? It makes me sad. It makes me sad that I wasn't more joyful when they were younger. I'm joyful now. I'm a joyful grandma. I'm a joyful mother of adult kids, but I still get, like, as I'm talking to you guys, I get a lump in my throat. So that's the impact of finding that, what is the problem, what is the impact of the problem, and what's the feeling. So if you can help, walk someone through, and that's what Bob teaches, is asking questions to, well, thank you for sharing that problem with me. What has been the impact of that problem on your life? And be quiet and listen, and let them tell you, and then say, and this can be on a telephone conversation, face to face, or in a text, and then saying, what what does that make you feel? How does that feel? And really helping them to realize that you can help them, and making them realize what the impact what that help will mean to them. So it's really, so the other thing, I wanted to just recap what Bob was talking about on Thursday. And I love that he closed with this. He said, if you don't believe in yourself, how can you expect anyone, whether it be in the product or business, to enroll with you out of all the other people that are out there if you don't believe in you? So your number one sale every day is to yourself, on yourself. Wow. That just like, I'm getting goosebumps just going over it. It's so profound, and it's so true. So I would like to turn this over. Who would like to share a little bit about what they took away? Rick, I see you unmuted. So why don't you share with us what you took away from the training on Thursday?
Wow. Just a different way of doing what we do. And I've seen a change over the past few years, how it used to be just scattershot, just getting your message out there and hoping somebody will latch on to it. And, I remember in the beginning, it was just about numbers, getting the word out, and the simple thing we were supposed to say was, have you heard of the gel? And then from there, you go from there. That just is a different way. The way Bob looks at it is just completely different. It's exactly what he said: love people, serve people, and grow as you're doing that. So, it really makes you look at things differently. We're here as problem solvers, not preachers. We're not here to just spread the gospel everywhere, although that's a good thing. But that's not our purpose. Our purpose is to find people with challenges and see if we can help them, not just offer them a product that we hope will help them, which is what I think I've been doing. A lot of us have been doing. Hey, we got this great product. Everybody should have it. Come here and get it. That's a whole lot different than what are you experiencing, like what you were going through. What are your problems? Is there something that we can talk about? And if there's a way you can help them with our products, you do. But otherwise, like you do, Peg, with a lot of people you talk to, you develop relationships with, and it's not about the gel or Nervi or anything else in the beginning. And it turns out that nothing like that is what they need, but what they need, you can provide it to them by referring them to a book or a quote or a training program. So we're here to serve. And I've developed a three-part philosophy several years ago in my life. First one is to love God. Second one is to serve people. Third one is to have fun. I think if you keep those in mind, and the first two can kind of be switched around a little bit: serve God, love others, have fun. But if you think of something like that, you're here to love people. The Bible talks a lot about love, service to many, and have fun doing it. I think we do all those together.
I love that you said that, Rick. It's so true. The service to many, that is, if you can serve enough people, you can get what your success just comes automatically, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how to unfeature you, Rick.
I don't want to unfeature.
I've got you featured. Charmaine, can you help me?
Yep, got it.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's still featured on mine, but that's okay. I got it back on gallery. Yay. So I love that you said that, Rick, and it's so true, because one of the other things that I've learned is, if by the time someone gets to talk to you, if they already see you as someone who can help them, that conversation goes so much more quickly. It goes so much more easily and naturally, right? So that's why, a lot of us are putting content on social media. And if you are, what you want is to create content that will naturally flow into a conversation. So, and not have a call to action ever of buy my stuff. Here's my link. You know, you need this. Join my team, right? Ever. But have the call to action be a call to action for a conversation. So you can, you know, asking a question about whatever it is the content is. And I actually printed up a checklist this morning. I'm going to put my readers on because it's really small print. And this is from Bob. So it's a social media content checklist. And you can write these down. I can put them in the group too. So ask a problem question. So do you suffer from, do you deal with, are you challenged with, right? Something, and think about what you're challenged with, because that's, like Bob said, you're your best prospect for the product or for the business. So are you challenged with this? So ask a problem question, share a story, whether it be a personal story or a business story. And then share what your mission is, share your vision or your values, and then share your I help statement. So my I help statement, I'll read it to you from Instagram. It's you know, whatever you do, you can change it within the drop of a hat. So my I help statement on Instagram is, I am pro-aging. I help midlife women struggling with feeling past their prime, quote unquote, to find fulfillment in this season of life and step into their power. So that's me. That's where I was. It's, you know, that's who I help. Of course I help men, right? But you want to really, you don't want to try and cast too broad of a net. So you want to attract in people who are like you. And then the call to the last part of this checklist is include a call to action to start a conversation. So asking a question that someone can answer that then you can go and comment on, and then you can take that to Messenger, right? You never want to take that conversation too long. You want to respond to them in whatever your content is, because that's going to increase the algorithm. It's going to put that conversation or your post in front of more people. But you want to take the conversation into either a message chat or a text chat if someone you know, you got their number, a phone call if you've got their number, and take it from there, and then do the, you know, diving into what their problem is. So yeah, I'd love to hear more feedback if anybody's got something they'd like to share about what they took away from the training on Thursday.
You know what I wanted to add on to that, Peg, was your definition of service to others that he mentioned. Like, some people really believe they are serving others by putting their call to action, buy my product, or leading with product information, instead of leading with, how can I help you? What are your struggles? So that was very interesting that he said that there was people, you know, a difference in how you view service to others.
Right. Oh, it's so true, because at the end of the day, if they don't decide to use your product that you know will help them, or join your business that you know will help them, at the end of the day, you're not serving them in the end, right?
Yes.
But if you put it out there too soon, you're going to put up their resistance, and it's just plain not going to work. So in that sense, you're not serving them because you're not opening them up to listening.
Exactly.
Right? You're not establishing yourself as someone who cares and wants to help them. So yeah, that's a really good point, Diane. Thank you for sharing that.
That is. And I wanted to add, I was kind of on and off the call. I was multitasking. I was handling some stage production on Thursday evening. Or I should say, and what we have to unlearn, right, is the process of how we were engaging people in the past. So what we need to add on is the different thought process of looking at and asking about those challenges or the problems that people have. So it was a part where someone said, well, or maybe it was in the chat, when do I bring up my product? When do I bring up the business? And he said, you don't. It's like a doctor, right? The doctor doesn't diagnose before he knows what the problem is. So we're not going to offer our business or the product if we don't know what's going on in their lives. Kind of paraphrasing there. So it is kind of a mental shift, like Rick had said, right? In the past, it was, let's talk to 20 people. But now it's more specific. It's very individualized. So I always take it, how would I feel if someone was giving me some information? How would I share? Or how would I feel if someone said, hey, you know what? I'm going on a trip to Paris. You should get this airlines. You should stay at this place. And I'm thinking, but I'm not going to Paris for a while. So thank you. But no. So hopefully that's helpful, to know that we are diagnosing, not like a physician, but we are helping people identify what their issues are, because sometimes they don't even know it to a place where they can articulate it, but they have that feeling. So I always leave people, feeling better. What's that adage? I always have people feeling better after they've had a conversation with you or, engage with you on social media.
Yeah.
And I want to give a shout out to Cody. Cody, thank you for joining us today. He is looking at our business. So thank you. Here are some of the other leaders that Peg and I and Kenny and Paul work with. All right,
Hi, Cody. So yeah, Cody, we have this meeting every Saturday, and these are basically the faces you're seeing here, the people who are very engaged. And we typically have our mentor Paul Capozio on. He's got some family things going on that he's not able to attend today, but we really appreciate him. So make sure you tune into him. And but this is the beauty of this business. We work as a team. So if Paul can't make it, Diane will fill in, Charmaine will fill in, myself, and we all contribute. We all work together. We are not necessarily, we are not all of us locked in the same tree of this company, but we all work together as a team. So I really love that. Anyone else have something to share about maybe something that a takeaway from Thursday?
I do.
Go ahead, Rochelle.
Part of kind of all of what he said, but I listen to Ray pretty much every day. And Ray, it's like a lot of these guys kind of say the same thing. And the more times you hear it, it's just at certain times, then it maybe clicks. It's like, I know Ray says that, but when you hear it differently, maybe a different voice, different words, it's just like, oh, okay, and maybe then it hits you. But I also love the story that he told about the gal that was in one of his training programs. And he said she had this long texted out or whatever it was, and it just went on forever and ever, and then she never heard anything back. And he's like, well, why do you think that is, and show me what you said, because she said, well, I did exactly what you said. And he's like, show me. And so he goes, well, what you need to do basically is ask her, what her problem was. And then she basically came back and said that she didn't need the money, that she totally trusted her. After the gal called the lady and said, tell me why you're considering doing the business. And they had this long conversation. And then the lady said, I don't need the money. I'm an empty nester. I'm just feeling alone. And so she wanted community. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, such a good point, Rochelle, because when she first responded to the woman, so the woman was a customer having a great product experience, and she said, I'd like to know more about the business. And what she sent her was, here's my link, here's how you do this, here's the comp plan, and this big long thing. And then she didn't hear back because she didn't ask the woman, wow, that's great. Why would you like to do this? What is prompting you to want to do this? Like, it's so simple. So she never heard back. She went to Bob, got some coaching on it, went back and said, I'm sorry. I didn't, And it's always it's always possible to start over with someone. It's always said, so
Yeah.
I'm sorry I did this in this way. I was, whatever, I was excited or I wasn't thinking, or it was a crazy day. I never asked you what it is you're looking for. I actually did that today with someone who has been wanting to, she has been looking at the business a little bit, but more at the product. And so I've been following up with her, and sometimes I don't hear back. And so today I went back in our message thread and I said, hey, I know that you were thinking that the gel would be really great for you, but I realized I never asked you why. Like, what was it that you were looking for results? And you know what she said? She said, I'd like more energy, better libido, and for something to put some hydration in my skin. So I didn't say, great, let's set you up. Right? I said, wow, thank you for sharing that. I said, most of my clients are dealing with the same thing, myself included. And so I'm just having that conversation. And I said, have you tried other things? Have you found any solution that has worked for you at all? So I'm letting her share with me a little more, and I'm digging a little deeper into what her problem was. And then we can get to, well, what's been the impact on, not having energy, because she is doing a business that has an impact, right? If we don't have energy to do our business, libido, the impact on a relationship. So, and I know skin hydration, that was something that, at 61 years old, or well, I'll be 61 this year, my skin was so crepey and had like no moisture left in it, especially in my face and my arms and legs. So that's been something that has changed dramatically for me with the gel, and then even more so with the Rose and Kohl, for sure. I love the Rose and Kohl moisturizer. That's my favorite product by far. So who else has something to share? Something that they took away? Michelle, I know you were on. Mel, you were on. Are you able to unmute? Go ahead, Lynn. Yeah.
I was just I know that his training was generic towards, any company, and I was just so happy that it really just sounded like our company, the Love Share Grow, and like we were talking to Alexi or something, and very he wasn't, that's why we're here, and I didn't feel sold to or anything else, or that I would be selling to anyone. So I just I was like, wait, that's what we're already doing, or that's our true belief with New Life. So
yeah,
that's all.
And I always felt that too, Lynn, that that was what I was doing. It's just, I think following his training and his outline, I guess, helps it to feel, it just takes it to another level. I think, and like I said, you can get so much from him for free just by watching his lives Monday through Friday. It's and I feel that it's really valuable what I learned from him in any part of my life. Whether I'm talking to a prospective business partner, a prospective customer, or if I'm talking to one of my adult kids or my husband, right? I can really, you can really make someone feel good when they feel that they're being heard. And, it's like Charmaine said, making someone feel better after a conversation with you than they did going into it. And one of the things her customer said to her, Rochelle, the woman that you were mentioning, one of the things she said to her is, every time I interact with you or watch your content, you make me feel really good about myself. That's why she wanted to join her.
Oh,
yeah.
I just had a gal reach out to me, and she's really been having a hard time. She's been struggling because her husband is dying, and she's taking care of him. And she told me the same thing. She's been following me for a long time, but because of that and money issues and different things, she's like, she can't get involved. But she's been trying to get on our Gel and Tells and NUL Freedom, so she can try to sort, try to be part of the group. And so I said, well, maybe if you can reschedule things and try to work in that half hour. But that's what she said. She said, I trust you. I feel like you're really trying to help. And I really want to be part of what you're doing and work with you. So yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, I totally. And the people who are looking for that will be attracted to you when they see when you put yourself out there. You know, I use social media a lot, and most of the time when someone does reach out to me, they've been watching me for quite some time. And they feel like when they reach out to me, they feel like they know me. And because they feel like they know me, I have that energy that goes back to them. Like it just naturally flows. It almost feels like we've been friends for a while. So when we have that first conversation, it feels really good. They've already seen kind of what I'm doing, and whether or not it's about the product or about our community, they already feel like, oh, I want to be part of this. I want to do this too. I want to do, I want to do what you're doing. And I'm having more and more and more of that. People who are either just jumping right in, or people who are saying, well, I want to try the product. And if it works for me, which we know it will, it'll take some time. But if it works for me, I know that I would love to join with you. So, you know, it's slowing down to go fast. It's doing something that works rather than something that used to work and doesn't anymore. So yes, you can put out there, you can sell in your content, you can, put out your product, buy my product, but the trouble with it is it doesn't work. So you feel like you're doing something, but it's kind of like, being in a rocking chair. You're doing something, but you're not getting anywhere, right? Diane.
Rochelle, maybe you should put that woman in our Be the Best You group. This way she gets to see what our community is like.
That's a good idea. Or I was thinking New You Women too. Are we able to now to invite guests?
I'm not sure. That's why I didn't say New You Women. I know that it's for distributors and customers, but I don't know if she opened it up to
prospects. Got it.
Yeah, I'll have to check. I think I maybe put her in Be the Best You, but I need to double check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anybody else want to share? Mel, can you unmute?
Hello.
Hey, Michelle.
I wanted to say that just starting off like I am, having Bob get me going in the right way and not having to unlearn things that maybe because I've never done this type of thing before. So not having to unlearn anything and starting off with his method, I think is going to help me be more successful right from the beginning. But it kind of has me stuck right now and all in my head. Every time I think I've got something right, I'm like, oh, no, that's still pushing product because I'm so excited about everything. So it's hard for me. So I'm really right now just trying to calm down. I get so excited. So going back to Bob's stuff, it just helps me calm back down, think about it, love, serve, grow, and do things a little better. So I'm working on that, and I appreciate all of you.
Thanks, Michelle. Thank you for doing that, because I know when you and I first met, you said, first thing you said to me was, I have been watching you forever. Right?
And I had.
Yeah. So
I had been watching you for 4 years. It took me a while to come on board, didn't it? I get mad because people don't go fast enough for me. And then I look back and go, well, it took me 4 years.
Yes. And that's important to remember. That's a really good point. And I just had someone, actually, I really don't have anyone in my local area. I live in a very rural area. And I just had someone just a week ago reach out to me. They are in my local area. And she said, I've been watching you for a while. I just recently retired, and I'd really like to know more about what you're doing. I think I'd like to get involved. And she has never commented on any post that I have. Never. She was not even on my radar. And so it just shows you that, putting yourself out there in a vulnerable way, establishing yourself as someone who enjoys helping people, talking about your vulnerability, talking about what your journey has been. One of the things, you know, people will never believe or be interested in your success unless they know what your failure is, or unless they know what your flaws are, right? We all have flaws. If you, Bob talks about, you know, some of the people that sell shampoo, for instance, and they come on and they've got these long flowing locks and they're always doing the hair flip, you know, and someone who's maybe older and has their hair is just, they're feeling like their hair is fried. They're just like glaze over, right? So if you can even in that, if maybe you've got gorgeous, beautiful hair now, but go back to where you were. So I always try to, in my posts, you know, talk about where I was. I was really stressed out. I had back issues that affected my life in an enormous way. And I was just looking for something to make me feel a little better. Never expected to feel as good as I do now. But, you know, and just sharing that, where you were at, what your struggles were, what you found. And if you want, I'll put the text for that content checklist in Facebook, because I think it is, or yeah, in the Facebook Messenger group. I think it is a really good checklist. And maybe you don't hit all the points. I think there's 5 points, 6 points. But if you can, you know, at least have some of that in there so that you can let people relate to you, because being relatable is much more important than being like, wow, look at her. Way more important, right? So Rochelle, you had something to say?
I just had somebody reach out again too. She's my sister's husband's wife, and whatever that is. But she has had all kinds of health issues. She's had different cancers and all this stuff. So probably for 3 years, I've been talking to her about, Kathy, you got to try the products, you know, selling the product, but also talking about her issues. But she finally just reached out and said she wanted to get on a gel and tell. And so I need to go back to her and say, so Kath, you know, why are you reaching out now? What is it, you know, what is the question? What is it that you're looking for? And what made you change? And so that's cool.
Yeah, that means clearly that's good, Rochelle. Clearly something has changed if she's realizing that she needs to do something at the very least, right? Or maybe something has dramatically changed, and being caring about that.
Yeah.
And letting her know that you care about it, right? Because especially if we're starting the conversation in chat, you can really care, but how would they know? Right? So Diane, you want to unmute?
Yes, this stuck with me, and I just heard it from, I believe it was Eric Worre. The days of the traditional testimonials are gone. Like, no more do you want to post the traditional testimonials for your company. You want to, yes, give a glimpse of what is happening, but not your traditional testimonial. So, in other words, for myself, say, my issue was I was in pain 24/7. So instead of me saying, oh, I found this wonderful gel and I'm out of pain 24/7, it was, I suffered until I found something. Not saying what the something is. I found something and now I'm living my life. I have an active life, or whatever. But you're never saying what that something is. So this way they're coming back to you and they want to know, what was that something? How did you turn things around? So your traditional testimonial days are really behind us because we're evolving now. So things are changing. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
That's very good, Diane.
Yeah.
And I think even that would apply even if you don't yet have a story. You can talk about, I found something, and you may know that I deal with this, and this. This is what I'm hoping for. This is what I'd like to see. I'll keep you informed. Follow me, and not follow me, because that's a little salesy, but I'll let you know how I do. right? So yeah, I like that a lot. So welcome, Lori. It's good to have you. And Hannah, did you have anything you'd like to, we're contributing, we're talking about what we got out of the training on Thursday. We talked a lot about how Bob's message kind of resonated with New Life, and how it gave, it can give you a different perspective on having conversations with people. So I don't know if you can unmute, Hannah. I know you might have kids hanging on you if you'd like to contribute. And I also want to congratulate, who else on here is a woman on fire? We've got Melanie and Hannah. Diane, do you know if there's anyone else? Diane is, yeah, okay. So Diane, Hannah, and Melanie are all nominated to be Woman on Fire for the month of March. So congratulations on that. That's super exciting. So yeah,
Hannah said she's in a massage.
Oh, getting or giving?
I want to jump on here really quick to tie into both what you, Peg, and Diane just said. One thing that when I had never listened to him before. I'm not a huge dive into Eric Rowe. He's probably the most I've ever listened to in my life. So I was very impressed with his philosophy and all of those types of things. And I do listen to some Eric Rowe. So I did hear him talk about testimonials. And I really think that we should stress two things. One, the idea of knowing other people's testimonies, right? So dropping in that debate, our Look at Us Now page and seeing because what would relate to me or somebody that I'm talking to, I might be able to say, man, you should hear my friend Peg, and be able to tag her in a post in those groups, right? Where it's more soft layering versus just, I have that saying, I do that with business. I don't do it necessarily with the gel, where I call it diary of the mouth. Like, you need to know you need to see what I see. You need to see, like that's my thing. And I do it in business. So when Michelle was talking, I was like, well, that's definitely me. I've tried to learn how to calm that down some, because I get so excited about the business opportunity. And then when you're talking about reaching out and divorcing yourself from that result, right? Like he talked about, what I thought was great with my girls and the ones that replied was, it's really just having those conversations instead of, oh my God, I got to get 12 people to say yes to coming to a gel and tell, or I got people on. And it is, I've kind of been big on mastering that invite. I'm real big on my girls inviting people to things and getting them in front of somebody else. But I think that those are some real powerful things that I wrote those down, all of those things, really just thinking about, man, like, who are these people? Really asking the question, really getting to know and taking that slower approach instead of, oh my God, I got to close 20 people today because I really want something, so that's just my little 2 cents. And I appreciate all of you guys this morning.
Mel, thank you so much. I'm glad you said that. For two things you said really hit with me, because I'm kind of excited about this conversation approach and structure for a conversation, right? And it made me realize that before I got involved in this program, the testimonial group was my number one tool. So I need to remember that that's part of my conversation, right? In saying, when they tell me, like, say for for example, this woman who said she needed energy, libido, and hydration for her skin. She's already in the group. She's been in there for quite some time. But in my conversation with her today, I can go in and tag her in a few posts that are related to those things, right? And then just go back and say, hey, I tagged you in a few posts. And then it's not me selling her. It's her being able to do some looking herself. So I like that. Diane, do you want to unmute?
Yes, I just want to remind everybody, we do have a challenge going right now for testimonials to be put into the Look at Us Now. So if you put a new testimonial in there, you go on the wheel for a prize.
Thanks, Diane. Yeah, I wrote mine up last night. I got to get it in there before the end of the month. I seem to be an end of the month person right now.
Well, actually, it closes on April 15th. It was from the 15th to the 15th.
Okay. All right, good. So do you want to talk about the March to rank?
Yes, we also have the March into your next rank promotion going right now. So that started on March 1st and it'll end on the 31st. And we're counting your 5-week rolling for your lesser leg. So you'll be put on the wheel again, and there will be 3 prizes for that as well. And then we also have the April 1st event that Miss Peg Tucker is hosting for us in New Jersey. So that's $20. Now, if you Venmo me the money, if you pay at the door, it'll be $25. If you need any of the information, you can contact me and I will get it right out to you.
Okay, great.
Exciting.
Yes, yeah, and we also have I know Mel's going to be at the Houston event on the
Yes.
same day, and then we have another event in Los Angeles, and I know I asked this last time we were on. Who has
Right. And I believe
The
it was
the 8th?
It's the 15th in
15th.
LA. Yep. And then I'm also doing a event on the 2nd in Marble Falls.
awesome.
Marble Falls, that must be in Texas.
Texas. Yep. And then I do my own event, more like a meet and greet the day after in LA. So normally I do one event with the company and then I try to do another one the next day, to kind of do like more of a meet and greet, a little less. The one in Marble Falls is going to be a full-on presentation, just like the one in Houston, because it's like 4 hours away. And so it's going to be a big, and Stoney's coming to do that with me. And so that'll be very exciting. And then
You're breaking up a little, Mel.
Oop.
So Marble Falls is the 2nd. Thank you for letting us know that. That's exciting. And I think that's really, really brilliant that you're doing these, going to a corporate event and then doing a meet and greet the day after. Really great. So you've got these people that are maybe really excited but didn't jump in yet, so you can get to know them a little better on a more one-on-one basis too. So I love that. So unless anyone has
Peg, isn't there, Charmaine, isn't there events at the corporate office?
Yes, I was going to jump in and let you folks know. So just a reminder for those in Northern California or wherever you want to drive in from, there is every 3rd Saturday at the original corporate office in the Bay Area, Pleasant Hill. We'll be having our business opportunity and also a community expose, if you will, how we are, a great community of business owners. And when you were talking, I think, Diane, about, or maybe it was Rachel, about someone who wants to be here because of the community, we show that. And there's typically a local business that's highlighted as well. So thank you for that.
That's great. Charmaine, I wanted to give you a shout out to you. You got your new distributor, George, to attend the event with you. And he really seemed to get a lot out of that. He got to meet Alexi Goldstein, yes, our CEO and formulator, which he was really impressed with. And then you arranged a 3-way call between myself and Ken Olson to introduce him. And he seems very, very excited. So he's got a lot of good contacts in the law enforcement field, and he's already been talking to people about the business. Actually, I thought of connecting him with Gordon, because Gordon's in the law enforcement field as well. So maybe we can make that connection. That would be cool. So yeah, does anyone else have some questions? Anything, challenges, anything else to announce?
Peg, can I share something?
Yes, please do, Gordon. Hi.
How you guys doing? Just 2 real quick things. I'll be very, very brief. Is that we can never underestimate the power of planting a seed. Mm. And the second thing is people don't care how much you know until you show how much you care. And in this chat meeting, I feel that resonating. And I just wanted to share that. That's all, period.
Oh, Gordon, thank you for sharing that. And it's both of those points are 100% true. I started off this meeting saying how much this community has changed me emotionally, personally. I've gone from you know, I've gone from 3 years ago, someone who was afraid to turn on my camera because I was like, when I saw my face, I was like, ah! And to speak in front of people, I can speak to people one-on-one, but to speak to a group was always a really something that caused a lot of terror in me. So when I had that terror, my brain would stop working. And so then I was like, well, I can't speak because I can't even think, right? So really just for me, having this community is as a place where I can speak and be heard, right? And that's why I encourage all of you, if you've got something to say, Gordon, thank you so much for jumping in and saying that. If you've got something to contribute, if you've got something, you know, words of wisdom, you can't underestimate the planting of a seed. So very true. You know, we've talked that we've proven that a few times, I think, today, talking about people that reached out to us from out of the blue that had been watching us, right? That had been just kind of, we spoke to them at first and they said no, but you don't close the door, right? You let them know that your door is always open, you're here to help, and be an encourager to that person, right? I connect with other people in the industry in other companies every now and then, and I say, hey, have you checked out Bob Heilig's training? Like, it's phenomenal, right?
Mm.
And honestly, I've had a number of distributors who I never said to them, you should take a look at what we're doing. I never said, hey, you know, maybe our company would suit you better. Never said that. And there was a time when they would reach out to me and say, I'd like to know, I think I may want to work with you. I'd like to know more about what you're doing. So, you know, just being that, planting those seeds, being that good person to people, you know, you will, I think it's Eric Worre that says, in this industry, you will be rewarded or punished for the type of person you were before you got in this industry, right? So now, if you were an awful person, and there's no one on here that is, but or was, but I think, you know, there's always, that's part of what we do here. We develop ourselves, and maybe not an awful person, but maybe you weren't the person who jumped in to help people because you were too scared, you were too unsure of yourself. And that's something that we build up our self-confidence here. And like, as Bob closed it, if you don't believe in yourself, how can you expect anyone else to believe in you and want to join with you if you don't believe in yourself? So selling yourself on yourself every day is your first job, right?
Yep.
Diane, you want to close it out?
You know what, it's funny, Peg, because Ray Higdon just did a whole thing on this about the person he used to be, that he was not a nice person, that he was in it for the business, for the money, you know, just he didn't care, you know, he didn't care if he burnt bridges. And now that he has evolved into this person who wants to serve others and who wants to, you know, do good with his money, he is now going back and making apologies to the people that he's done wrong. And it's just an amazing thing to see, because he evolved from this drunken, not caring, whatever guy to this upstanding man who wants to do better and is doing better and wants to mend those bridges that he burned. So I thought that was amazing for him to do at this point in his life. So it just brought that up to me.
Yeah, really good
There's
point.
always time to repent.
Yes, going back to people who you have wronged in some way is really, and you know, talking about being all about the business and not being a caring person, hard for me to imagine at all, absolutely impossible for me to fathom. But Paul Capozio says that about himself. Like, I can't even, he is such a generous he says he was all about the money, you know, when he was the Wall Street guy, and I think you kind of have to be.
Well, yeah, and that's
No.
because in that setting, that's what they teach you too.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
So thank you for bringing that up, though, Diane. I love that. And you know, if you look at any like a 12-step program, that's one of the, right, going back and you making amends to people. So I like that. Rochelle, would you like to close us out?
Well,
Rochelle, Rochelle and then Charmaine.
I just wanted to say, when Diane's talking about Ray, you know, he had a really bad childhood, drugs, abuse with his family. And then I don't know if anybody ever heard, but Jessica also opened up and she's doing, she's selling real estate now. So she's doing that on the side. But she shared something at, I think it was their last year's live, where her mom was a hoarder. Did you see that, Diane? Yeah, her mom was a hoarder. And so she lived in a house with a hoarder. And she said it was devastating. So now her whole real estate thing is to be able to walk into these clean, beautiful homes. And so that, I thought that was pretty interesting.
That is interesting, where our challenges, where we come from and where they lead us. And there are so many people, like you talk about Ray's beginning, so many people could use that as an excuse to go nowhere in life. And then, but the people who are winners are the ones who use it as a reason to change things in their life. So yeah, I like that. Charmaine, I'm gonna ask you to close this up.
Okay, well, I thank you, Diane, for bringing up, going back and repenting, because doesn't Paul call that the apology tour?
Yes.
Right. For those of us who are, belly to belly with people in person, it may be a little bit more challenging because you don't have that pause to go, oh, well, let's see, how can I go a little bit further and ask the question? And just for an example, last week I had to get my pre-TSA renewed, and I was in line with a couple of people, and somehow or other, it was a couple who they were there before me. I had an appointment, so did another guy. So the other guy got priority, right? They took him, and I saw that they were sitting there for a while. I'm like, hey, I am not in a hurry. Go ahead. They're going to Maui. We're talking, and somehow or other we talk about how she had broken her pelvis. I said, oh my gosh. She goes, I'm recovering. It's very slow. I said, oh my gosh. And somehow or other we talked about the goose egg on my head when I fell. And so she said, I'd like to hear more about it. And it was more that I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, if that was my mother, right, I would say, a close friend, I would say, oh my gosh, how did that happen? How's your recovery? So with Love, Serve, Grow, it is about getting to know the person. It's building the relationship first, asking that question. So what I would challenge you, to hear from you next week, how many people have you shared the time with? We're sharing the time. We're not sharing the product. We're not sharing the business. We're sharing time with them to get to know them a little bit more, build that relationship. And then at some point, like Peg has said, Diane has said to you, Mel, we'll get to that point where, oh my gosh, I've had a similar issue, or I have a friend or a business partner who's had a similar challenge. Do you mind if I share how that's affected me? So be mindful, of where the training that we've received, be mindful of how you're presenting yourself, and remember, be on the other side. How would you like someone to tell you about the new car, or, something that you're going out to purchase, refrigerator? Do you want to hear all the benefits, or do you want someone to ask you, is it something that you need immediately? Is your refrigerator dead? Or, is it something that you're doing for a remodel? So you're like, this person really cares about my needs. So go out and care about someone's needs, and let's hear about it next Saturday. So you all have a great rest of your weekend. I look forward to seeing all of you actually on Monday and also next Saturday.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Charmaine.
Thank you. Great
Bye,
call.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.